What are you drinking?
Monster, the original.
I made me some tea just for this.
Ooh, I meant to make me a cup of coffee before we got started.
I made this tea and it's pretty nice.
Ooh.
Do you got time? How long does it take you?
I don't know. It's just going to have to take me. Hey, John. John just signed in. I think that's his first time ever watching the show.
Hey, John.
Be right back. I'm going to make me a cup of coffee and it's going to get started up in here.
Hello, Thomas. I see you. Well, hello, everyone. Looks like it's just us again. Banks likes to leave us alone. Somebody talk to me on here. Other than my husband. Wally, I don't even know what that's supposed to mean, so I'm just going to ignore you every time you write something like that on here.
All right. Yes, yes, yes. I think the good Lord in heaven made coffee for people. I
Not
think
for me.
I think it's a gift from God. I do.
Not a gift for me.
Yes, I do. Okay. All right. Welcome, everybody, to Off the Cuff. I am Adam Banks, broadcasting from Lexington, Kentucky. Thank you for listening to the show, and thank you for tuning in to WLXU 93.9 FM. In addition to listening to us on the radio, you can check out our Facebook live stream at Off the Cuff with Adam Banks, or you can download the WLXU app on your smartphone device to listen anywhere in the entire world. It is May the 21st, everyone. We are social distancing, but not for too much longer. I feel like that eventually things here Off the Cuff are getting back to a very new normal, slowly but surely. Amber Turner is with me as she is always, but she is still at her house, and I'm still at mine. We are social distancing. Amber, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing just fine. As I was saying, we do have a date. July the 9th is now the new date that they are giving us that we will be back in the studio.
So it's going to be a glorious day.
It will be a glorious day. I really cannot wait until that day arrives. It's coming before we know it. I think that's in what, 4 or 5 weeks?
Yeah, something like that.
Or is that wishful thinking?
I'm just going to let you wishful think because we're not going to check it.
So July 9th, we're going to be back into the studio. So let me explain kind of how this is going to work, because things aren't going to be hit the ground running like they used to be. It's not going to be back all the way to normal. So when July 9th comes, we will be live in the studio again. So the show will go back to its normal time slot, Thursday from 4 to 5, WLXU 93.9, and it will be live from the studio. However, the difference is I am the only one that will be allowed in the studio on July the 9th. Only one person per show allowed. So I'll be going in and doing the show from the studio. Amber will still be joining me, but she will have to still remain socially distant in the comfort of her own house wearing her muumuus.
I'm obviously not wearing a muumuu.
But see, unless you log on to Off the Cuff with Adam Banks' Facebook page, you will not see what Amber is wearing. You're just going to have to take
Adam's word, and that is totally false. So definitely not a muumuu. July
the 9th, though, we will be doing live shows. I can't wait just to get in the studio again, Amber, and do live shows. But I'm a little apprehensive because I feel like it's going to be very lonely without you in the studio. I'm going to miss you, even though we're still going to be on the air together. It's going to be different being in the studio without you there on July 9th.
It'll be fine. Just imagine that you're mad at me and I'm just standing outside calling you or something.
This is House Arrest Series Volume 8. So we've been doing this now for 8 episodes. The last 8 episodes we've been broadcasting outside of the studio. We have now went on a bi-weekly schedule until we're back into the studio. So today is a brand new episode. Next week you will hear a replay, and then the next week you'll hear a new episode. Next week replay, next week new episode, until we're back on July 9th officially in the studio with live episodes. So it's coming slowly but surely.
I think we should open a poll to see what our listeners think we should play in the next, I guess, our off week. I feel like we talked about it amongst you and I, and we've both picked out ones we want, but I would be curious to see what the Off the Cuff fans want to hear. You think we should open a poll?
Do you know how to open a poll?
I'm sure we could Google it. Google's a good friend of mine.
Yeah, please do that. Yes, do a poll. Are you talking about as far as music goes?
No, I meant like what episode maybe people want to hear.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Start a poll maybe, or we could throw up a few episodes and we could see if the listeners want to vote on that. Sure, that's a great idea. But folks, let's get right into it while we are social distancing. I've been trying to keep up with the phases that Andy Bashir has been laying out for us day by day, it seems like. Every time I tell everyone a date, he changes it on me. So I apologize for that. It's not my intention to give you false information. I'm giving you correct information as I hear it, but it changes so much. So I'm just telling you what I hear as I hear it. So we are still in phase 1, which means we can go buy a car if we want. We can go to horse racing if we want. No, I'm sorry. We can't go to horse racing, but we can watch horse racing. Uh, Funeral homes have now officially opened. Retail stores have officially opened. Church services are now officially open, thanks to a federal judge saying that it's unconstitutional. And out of state travel can continue. That kind of was moved up due to a federal judge saying that that was unconstitutional too. So we know we know what we're able to do right now in phase one. So right now we are getting ready to go into phase two. We are preparing for phase two, and phase two is going to happen quicker than we thought it was going to. As a matter of fact, it happens tomorrow on May the 22nd. That means restaurants with limited 33% capacity and outdoor seating can happen. So the question is, are you going to go and sit down and eat at a restaurant? Are you going to be one of the first people to go and do that when it opens, Amber?
Happily.
You-
Happily.
So you're not going to, you're saying that you could freely go to a restaurant, sit down, eat, and not be scared in the slightest.
No, because everyone's going to be taking the proper precautions, because I think we've all kind of been through this together and we've all learned a few lessons. And that lesson is we got to kind of take things a little serious. So if they're running at 33% capacity and they are following all the guidelines that have been set place, I have no issue whatsoever. Now, if I go in there and I see things aren't going the way they're supposed to, then yeah, I'm going to have a problem. But no, I'm looking forward to it.
Social gatherings of up to 10 people will be allowed on May the 25th. That means barbers, salons, cosmetology businesses, and similar services. And Amber, you're shaking your head in delight because apparently you were glowing a while ago because you set your first nail appointment since this whole
I
pandemic.
did. I did. I have a nail appointment on Monday, and I was so thankful when I received the notification that they were taking appointments.
Well, I'm just
So,
happy that you didn't decide to cut your own hair like a lot of
no,
people have. A lot of people have taken it on themselves to shave their own head. We
done
don't
that
want to,
once before.
yeah, we don't want to go 2016 again.
Been there, done that.
June the 1st, ladies and gentlemen, movie theaters and fitness centers will open. I'm curious to see what it's going to look like in a movie theater and a fitness center when this opens, because they still have to follow social distancing guidelines, which means it's 6 feet apart, sanitizing, all this and that. So I'm curious to see what it's going to be like if people are still going to keep their distance.
Well, I mean, I did finally make a trip to Walmart, and I will say that unfortunately, people there are not taking it very serious. I'm sure there were a lot of people that were like, "Why is this lady getting physically like shaken that they're getting a little too close to me?"
Yeah, but the thing,
So,
I've been to Walmart a couple of times too, and I get really frustrated when I go to Walmart and I see the people, like people are wearing masks now, right?
hmm
Some people are, some people aren't. But I go into Walmart. I don't agree with the mask thing because I don't think that the mask is, unless it's thrown away each time you wear it, it's no good. I mean, as soon as you touch this mask, it's unsanitary, and people don't even think about it when they're putting on the mask. They'll take the mask, they'll set it down, and then they'll pick it back up and they'll put it on their face. I'm like, you just set your mask down on a dirty table. Like I saw one woman at Walmart. This was around Mother's Day. She was wearing a mask.
hmm
She was sitting on the floor going through Mother's Day cards.
Oh, well, I mean,
Can you think of anything that's been more touched than the card section at Walmart? Because how many times do you go through Walmart and you go through the card section and you're like, ooh, I like this card. Oh, no, I don't. And you put it back. Ooh,
a
I like
thousand
this card.
times.
No, I don't. And you put it back 1,000 times. 1,000 germs have been passed on those
hmm
cards. And you see people touching them and then they put their mask down on their chest. I don't understand that one either. Putting your mask down on your chest.
Maybe they have to take it off so they can read better. I don't know.
But the dirt that's on your shirt is now on your mask, which is now on your face. So the mask, I have not wore a mask yet, and I don't plan on wearing one. Okay, hot take there from Adam Banks, ladies and gentlemen. On June the 15th, childcare with reduced capacity and potentially low touch and outdoor youth sports will be available. And July 1st, which some people are calling that phase 3, will be when bars and groups of 50 will be able to see each other and be around each other. And then that means July 9th, I'll be back to go into the WLXU studios and do Off the Cuff live. So Still not going to happen, Amber. Swimming pools, they have officially, it's announced that they're not opening at all this summer. I'm pretty bummed about that. But folks, now is the time more than ever to put you in a nice above ground swimming pool. I don't know if you've ever had an above ground swimming pool or if
Yes.
anyone has ever experienced an above ground swimming pool, but they will change your life. Some of my best memories of swimming, and I kid you not, was in an above ground swimming pool.
But was it a professionally set up above ground swimming pool, or
No,
was
it was
it
just
one like I bought at Walmart?
it was done. I remember the particular pool that I remember swimming in was done by a bunch of my stepdad's buddies. I don't know. And they put it up. They put up the swimming pool. It was really nice. They put a nice deck around it. You could put a deck around a swimming pool and create
Yeah.
an illusion that it's underground. So you can really make an above ground swimming pool look really nice. Now, a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people just like to throw up their swimming pool and leave it as a big eyesore. But you can make an above ground swimming pool look nice.
Well, I tried it for about 2 weeks. I was the proud owner of an above ground swimming pool for 2 weeks, and it was the worst 2 weeks of my life. So I
What
think
went wrong?
until,
What happened?
well, first and foremost, Wally and I set it up. So there's your first problem. There's your trouble.
Yeah.
You had two people who don't know anything about swimming pools setting up a swimming pool. Um, I fell a couple of times getting in and out of it because those little stairs that come with were wobbly. And then finally, Piddle decided she was going to chew on the cord for the pump. So that's when I threw the towel in. I was done.
I feel like when a lot of people get above ground swimming pools, they love them for about a year or two, and then they don't anymore. And then they just give up on it. Because I don't think if you don't have a deck around your above ground swimming pool within the first year, you're not putting a deck around it at all.
You ain't
That
keeping it.
thing is just going to sit there and rot until it falls to the ground. But some of my best memories were from an above ground swimming pool. I learned to swim in an above ground swimming pool. Uh, I learned to hold my breath for 3 or 4 minutes in an above
Why were
ground
you
swimming pool
holding your breath for 3 or 4 minutes?
because I was 5. What else does 5-year-olds do to kill time? They hold their breath.
I mean, you were just going to kill yourself holding your breath that long.
But they can be an eyesore, so you do got to decorate them. I remember growing up, we had a above ground swimming pool with a deck around it, and it was really nice. I mean, it was a big enough deck to where you could host parties, you could host events, and it was still it was nice enough to where you wasn't ashamed for people to come over and look at it. Because here's the thing about deep swimming pools that I don't understand. People will put in 8-9 foot swimming pools, and I don't understand it because what are you training for? The Olympics? Don't you just want a pool to where you can stand up in and play volleyball, play basketball, and hang out in? So why do you want a pool any bigger than 4 feet?
Don't you like going down the slide? Don't you want to jump off a diving board?
It's okay to have a deep end, and that I understand if you want to put in a deep end and have 6 foot, but I mean, for the most part, people aren't sliding and diving. They're standing up and they're hanging out. You're diving.
I'm diving. I'm sliding. I'm jiving. I'm getting in the swimming pool, man.
I
And I
will,
want enough room to go to the bottom.
I will believe it. I'll believe it when I see it.
Well, maybe we'll try again for a swimming pool.
Please don't put in the above ground swimming pool and make it an eyesore. Sometimes that could ruin the looks of a house, just like a trampoline. I love trampolines. Trampolines are fun, but sometimes trampolines can be the biggest eyesore out in front of a house you've ever seen because there's nothing nice that you can do to a trampoline to make it look good.
Nothing.
I mean,
nothing.
You could spend a bunch of money and have it to where you can dig a hole and put your trampoline to where it bounces down in the ground.
But like, what happens when you're jumping and sometimes the trampoline part will like break, and then you're jumping, you fall in that hole, and then your mommy and daddy don't see you for a few hours because they don't really know that you're there. They can't see there's a hole in it. It's not like you're just laying flush on the ground. You're in the ground.
You've been buried alive.
Yeah, that scared me to death.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick break. Stick with us. We'll be right back after these words. Welcome back, everybody, to Off the Cuff. Adam Banks here with you. This is House Arrest Volume 8. Amber is joining me, as she is always, at her house. We are social distancing. We were talking about things that were opening up very, very soon, and movie theaters was one of the things that we were talking about. But a lot of the things that people have used as an alternative instead of going to the movie theaters, the drive-in movies have made a comeback. And I don't know if it's been in your area, but there's been a few places. Has there been any places in Lexington that has shown any drive-in features?
No.
Okay,
No,
but
I think the only one we had is like Paris. It's
yes,
about 10, 15 minutes outside of Lexington.
the drive-in movies, Amber, is something that I was hoping would make a bigger comeback than what it did, but it ultimately it didn't do as well as what I thought, and I don't know why, because I love a good drive-in movie. Have you ever been to one?
Yes, unfortunately.
And you didn't like your experience?
No, I did not. It was probably one of the worst experiences I had going to the movies, and I went multiple times just to make sure.
No, a drive-in movie would be a great place to take a date. Now, ask anybody who lived through the 50s, 60s, and 70s who went to the drive-in movies. It was a great place to take a date because you had the privacy and the intimacy of having your own car, and it was just you and your date in the car. You didn't have to worry about anybody being around you in the theater. You were alone in the car.
Yeah, but there's a thing called cell phones that we have now, and all you have to do is just video the person in the car beside you because you see them over there being intimate and close with one another, and then boom, everybody knows.
You
For
know a lot
privacy.
of people. You know a lot of people hooked up at the drive-in movies. A lot of people were, because you hear about people who, for their first time, their first sexual experience was at a movie theater. I say it quadrupled at the drive-in.
You know what? I don't know. There's just something so weird about thinking about that. So I'm going to choose not to think about it because, I love the movies and I'm going to hold them sacred because my thoughts are go to the movie to watch the movie, man. If you want to get a little dirty, go somewhere else.
Yeah, kids though, especially kids, they're going to, chances are that seat in the movie theater that you've sit in, people have got a little dirty.
I mean, I'm not going to say that I've not got a little dirty in a movie before, just like you can't say you've not gotten a little dirty in a
Honest
movie.
to God, I can say I haven't. Honest to God, I can say the movie theater is a place where I have never gotten a little dirty. I've not. And now maybe that would have changed had we still had drive-in movies.
I wouldn't at a drive-in movie. So.
I say if we still had in drive-in movies, I'd say my hookup numbers would be up the roof.
Why are you lying to all these good people out here today for?
But I love the idea of the drive-in movies. People would roll up to your window, they'd serve you your popcorn, they'd give you your pop, just like Sonic would when they would roll up on their rollerblades. That's how people at drive-in movies would be. I went to the drive-in movies when I was younger, just once, and it was in Isom in Letcher County. I don't know if you've been to that one before.
That's the first one I ever went to.
Okay. And it was fun. And I was fascinated, of course, with the fact that the movie sound was coming through the radio. I mean,
wasn't foreshadowing or anything.
No. So I was fascinated with that, and I couldn't understand how that was happening. So I thought that was really cool. But I really did just like the idea that you felt really safe and secure in your car. So too bad it didn't make a comeback like I thought it would. I think studies show, Amber, that one of the biggest reasons why there was a downfall in drive-in movie theaters was, number one reason was the obvious indoor theater.
Yeah.
People would rather be indoors when it's all said and done watching a movie. The digital conversion caused the big downfall. And number three is just the fact that, the decline of the people not letting it says that there was a decline in drive-ins because of cheesy slasher films that were always showed, and people didn't want their movies shown at the drive-in because they thought it was second rate if their movie was being showed at the drive-in.
I can give them a number 4. People probably thought, oh man, all these women are coming back pregnant. I'm not going to the drive-in movies anymore.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's about that time for Off the Cuff to take its Song of the Week break. And unfortunately, we're going to be playing an artist that passed away just a couple days ago on May the 9th, 2020. Little Richard, the architect of rock and roll at the age of 87, died in his home in Tullahoma, Tennessee, from a cause related to bone cancer after a 2-month illness. Little Richard, as he is known, the architect of rock and roll, was a legend in his own right. He was a phenomenal artist. Not only was he an excellent performer, but he had a chilling, haunting voice that would put goosebumps on you every time you heard it. And his talent, especially on the piano, when he tickled that ivory, there was nothing like it. And he was held down a lot. A lot of people say he was held down because of his race. A lot of people said that he was held down a lot because of his sexuality, because Little Richard was gay. Little Richard was black. During his time to rise, people held him down because of those two things. And it was obvious that he was being held down because he could perform the same song. And this is one of the reasons why I want to be in the studio right now, so I could show you the comparison. There was 2 songs out on the radio, the same song sung by 2 separate artists. One artist was white and he sung it very normal, very just blah, blah, blah. And then Little Richard sung it. And I would love to show you the difference between the two and which one got more airtime. It wasn't Little Richard.
No.
Little Richard, Amber, this might surprise you, has never won a Grammy.
It doesn't surprise me, though. I feel like a lot of artists in that time frame were held back. And I think that, you know, they're still being held back, and I think that they're starting to have a little light shed on them, but it's almost like it's too late. You know, why were people not celebrating this man when he was still alive? Why are there, you know, our generation just now hearing some of that? And I'm like, guys, this was soundtrack of my life at my grandparents' house.
Some people say that Elvis stole a few moves from Little Richard. Some people were saying he was that good. And when you got people like the King of Rock stealing your moves, it's sad. But we're going to give him some love here on Off the Cuff, and that's why this week's Song of the Week is Long Tall Sally, ladies and gentlemen. So sit back, enjoy, and we'll be right back after the song. And hearing his songs, you wonder how this man never won a Grammy.
I mean, again, he was the soundtrack of my childhood, so this is kind of a comforting sound to me.
Amber, if you are looking forward to getting back into restaurants, there are some restaurants that you may not be able to get into because they have shut down. Steak and Shake has shut down over 57 of their chains nationwide. The one here in Lexington is out. It's gone. No, actually, no, I'm sorry. It's not gone. It's one that's staying. It's one that is staying of the 57 chains that were that was shut down. But it's not a good look, and it's not a good sign for Steak and Shake. I don't see good things happening in their future.
I mean, I can't say too much. I know I've ranted and raved several times about, well, I guess not raved about the one here in Lexington, but I sure do love their food. So I hope that maybe they can turn things around.
I mean, they're not the only ones. You got Logan's shut down, TGIF shut down during this. O'Charlie's shut down during, not O'Charlie's, but Chicago shut down.
Chicago.
But I'm glad to see them back open.
They're back up and running.
But they don't have pasta. I got online to order pasta and they didn't have it. So I don't know what's up with that. Very weird. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be right back after these words. Stick with us. Welcome back, everybody, to Off the Cuff. Adam Banks here with you. Amber is also with me, joining me via Zoom. She is at her house. I'm at mine. We are social distancing. This is House Arrest Series, Volume 8. Amber, since we have been on quarantine, I've raved over the Michael Jordan documentary. It is the best thing that I've seen on television since I've been in quarantine. And it just solidifies his greatness. It solidifies him being the greatest of all time. And let me just start off by saying this. I have always said that Michael Jordan is the greatest of all time. I'm not just saying this just because The Last Dance has come out. And I hate that we live in a world that we have to prove all these things that we like. People are like, oh, you're just saying that because of The Last Dance. You're caught up in the moment. No,
I'm going to say no. I know how much you've always loved Michael Jordan, so I will be the first one to stand up and say, no, guys.
Thank you. So I was actually
no.
Thank you very much. And that's great about having somebody from your past that's still around that can verify those things. But I was looking through certain social media posts, and I've been obsessed with Michael Jordan for a very long time that I've screenshotted, and I can prove those things if I have to. But let me just say that I've loved the documentary. I finished it up. It was 10 episodes total. On the last couple episodes of Off the Cuff, I've talked about each episode because each episode covers a certain specific topic that happened in Jordan's life. Well, we haven't been on the air in 2 weeks, so I'm going to go ahead and just wrap up the talk of the documentary and just go ahead and talk about episode 10, 9, 8, and 7, the last 4 episodes, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So let me just say, when I watched episode 7 and 8, and it discussed the death of Michael Jordan's father, and it talked about him retiring from basketball, I cried like a baby through the entire thing. I cried like a baby. I'm talking, I bawled. And I was like, what am I doing? Why am I crying? I think it was the fact that, one, he lost his dad. And I related to the situation. If that ever happened to me, what would I do? It would put me in, it would throw me off my game. It would throw me into a different world like it did Jordan. When Michael Jordan lost his dad, and for folks who don't know, Michael Jordan's father was his best friend. He was with Jordan all throughout the Jordan days, all throughout the Bulls days, the first 3 years when he was alive, the first 3 championships when he was alive. When Jordan was drafted in 1984, you would see Jordan's dad. When Jordan was Rookie of the Year, you would see Jordan's dad. You see Jordan's dad everywhere. Jordan's dad stopped on the side of the road because he was tired when he was driving home from somewhere. And when he stopped on the side of the road, people stopped, saw it was a very nice car that was on the side of the road, and they shot Jordan's dad. They killed him, and they stripped the car, and they hid the car. And did they ever find Jordan's dad's body?
Yes, I think it was a couple of weeks later they had, I think, thrown him like in a body of water.
Yes. So they found Michael Jordan's dad's body. That really messed with Jordan. It caused him so much pain and so much heartache that truly made Jordan quit basketball. He couldn't see himself going back and doing the sport that he loved more than anything. He said that he couldn't imagine winning another championship and his dad not being in the locker room waiting for him when he got back in there. So Jordan said that he needed to do something else besides basketball to get over the death of his father, because there was no way that he could focus on basketball and give that attention when his dad just died. Michael Jordan taking that year off from basketball was really what it was. It was taking a leave of absence due to his father's death. That's truly what I feel. Now, Jordan will go on and say, well, it's because I want to try this dream of baseball. It's because I'm burnt out on basketball. And all those things probably was true. He was burnt out. He just won 3 championships. He was the most famous man on planet Earth. He was burnt out. He was probably sick of being recognized everywhere he went. Now, that didn't slow down even when he went to baseball. But that right there, when Jordan's dad died, it was so emotional. And then episode 8 talked about Jordan coming back into baseball. He trained an entire year training his body to be a baseball body.
So how long was it between, I guess, when he decided to leave the NBA to go to baseball? Was it a full year?
Jordan retired from the Bulls for the first time. He quit, went to baseball. He retired in October of 1993.
Oh, wow.
And then he did not return until March of 1995. See, Jordan quit basketball. He set out the entire year, played baseball, played in the minor leagues. And then what happened was baseball had a lockout where no games were going to be played. Had that lockout not have happened, Jordan might not have ever returned back to basketball, because when that lockout happened, that left room for Jordan to go and practice with the Bulls. He would go see them. Jordan started getting that itch again.
Yeah.
A year had passed. Time heals all wounds. Not saying that he's over the death of his father, but time heals all wounds. And Jordan just suddenly got back into it. And then episode 8 talked about his return. And Jordan, they were trying to figure out a headline to put to the world to announce that Jordan was back.
Yeah.
And the only thing, they let Jordan come up with the headline, and they wrote him all these suggestions about what he should write. And the only thing that Jordan said that he could think of, and the only thing that needed to be said, was 2 words: I'm back.
Wow.
And that's all he said. And when he got back, it was the same Jordan. It ultimately ended up being the same Jordan. Now, his first game back, he came back wearing number 45. Most people think, oh, Jordan wore 45 because number 23 was retired. That wasn't the reason why he wore 45. It was because he wanted a new start. That was his baseball number. That was his first basketball number that he ever played with back in high school. He wanted a new start. It was a new era. It was the second Bulls chapter of Michael Jordan. He didn't play the same in number 45. And somebody made a comment at him saying, oh, 45 don't look nothing like 23.
Oh, wow.
That's not what you say to Michael Jordan.
No.
And that's all it took, because the very next game, he took off 45 and he put back on 23. And I think he scored like 40 something points.
I think that's called a I'll show you move.
And that's what Jordan did a lot. So it talked about his return, and when he went back and he won 3 more championships after that, but his first championship back without his dad, he went back into the locker room by himself. Of course, cameras were following him, and he collapsed, bawling his eyes out, bawling, sobbing. And it was because everybody knew. It was because it was his dad. His dad wasn't there. He won a championship, and his dad wasn't there. But
well, it was probably more than just his dad. I mean, it sounds like, from what I know, that was also his best friend. So it was like two hits at once.
Another thing that I found very fascinating about the documentary was they talked about the flu game. Now, I'm sure you've heard about the Michael Jordan flu game in 1997 when he was working on his 5th championship. Michael Jordan, they said, he played during that game and scored 39 points with the flu. Well, Jordan revealed that during the flu game, he did not actually have the flu.
Oh.
He was food poisoned. He said that he was really hungry, and he told his staff that I need to get something to eat. So they started calling around in Utah, because they were playing in Utah during the finals. And they said they could only find one place open, and it was a pizza place. One place open in this town, and it was a pizza place. Yeah. So they called in and ordered a large pizza. They delivered the pizza, and they said when they showed up to the Marriott where the Bulls were staying, that 5 guys from the pizza place showed up to deliver one pizza.
Yeah.
They knew immediately something wasn't right, and they didn't have a good feeling. Michael Jordan was the only one to eat that pizza. Nobody else touched it. Michael ate it all. Well, a couple hours later, about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, Michael was throwing up violently, viciously. He was food poisoned. They got the team doctor in there, and he was curled up in a fetal position like a baby.
Oh, yeah.
Crying, saying that something's not right, he's very ill. Well, he was food poisoned. So he went out. Have you ever been food poisoned before?
Yes, it's why I don't want to eat at a particular restaurant that you love.
You feel like you're going to die. You
Yes.
literally feel like you are going to die. Micheal went out there and scored 39 points.
No, the only thing I will be doing is going out and puking again.
How does that even happen? How do you get food poisoning and go out there and play a basketball game? Because when you're sick, all you want to do is lay in the bed.
Mm-hmm.
And the last thing you want to do, even with thousands of people screaming your name, is that enough to push you through? Apparently it is.
I mean, the thought of running when I'm nauseous just makes me nauseous right now thinking about it. Like, have you ever tried to run when you were nauseous?
No, because I don't. I
No.
know when I'm nauseous, I'm laying down in the bed.
I've done it one time. I ran, like when I was trying to physically just run, I ran till I got nauseous and I tried to push on through it. And man, that was not a pretty scene.
Well, so they finished and closed the documentary up talking about Michael's sixth championship when they faced Utah again. Uh,
Bet he didn't
they
eat pizza again.
He didn't eat pizza. They talked about the infamous push off, the last shot of Michael Jordan's career when he pushed off a player before he took the final shot. And they showed that it clearly wasn't a push off. It was just like they compared it to a waiter assisting you to your seat. It's a
Yeah.
very light touch. And that's exactly what Jordan did. Swoosh, iconically, it went in and he won his sixth title. My God, what a documentary. The
I might
Bulls,
have to check it out.
you are going to. It's coming to Netflix in June. The Bulls have never been the same since. They've never won a title since. Phil Jackson left. Scottie Pippen got traded immediately. Dennis Rodman got cut. And
I can't imagine why.
and Michael Jordan went into retirement. So the Bulls, a franchise that was the franchise of the 1990s, is no longer the same. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to stick with us. I promise you, we got lots more coming at you right here after these words. Welcome back, everybody, to Off the Cuff. Adam Banks here with you. Amber is also in studio with me. She is at her house. I'm at mine. We are social distancing. This is House Arrest, Volume 8, last segment of the hour. What you're hearing is Bon Jovi's Dead or Alive. I play this because the piano player, David Bryan, was diagnosed with COVID-19. He is recovering. He's getting better. It's amazing, all of these celebrities who have gotten coronavirus. I talked about a list of celebrities, a plethora of celebrities that had the virus on the last episode, Amber. It's crazy. This virus knows no age, no pocketbook, no status. It can get anybody.
Yep.
If I'm glad and I'm thankful I have finally received my stimulus check. I was getting a little worried.
I think you were the person that was worried the most, so I'm so glad you got it.
Yeah, I'm glad now everybody can go to bed and rest in peace, knowing that I got my stimulus check on May the 13th. I'm very happy. It's already gone. I've already paid off a few debts. But get ready, folks, because there might be a second stimulus check coming your way. The House passed a $3 trillion stimulus relief package on Friday. It's called the HEROES Act, and it does provide a second stimulus check for us citizens. Now, Senator Mitch McConnell is saying that this is going to be a bill that will be dead on arrival when it enters the House. Now, so the Republican House is saying that this isn't going to happen. I personally agree. I don't think it needs to happen, but that's a story in itself. But that's not the know all be all. Mitch McConnell's not. So it's still up in the air. It still could happen, Amber. We still could get this passed when it hits the House. It's very unlikely, but it still could happen. If it does, people are wondering, how much is this stimulus check going to be? Well, it's going to be very familiar with what you saw last time. It's going to be $1,200 for individuals. It's going to be the same amount for married couples, $1,200 per person in the marriage. And then the kids, the only difference is that the kids will get a raise from $500 to their own $1,200.
Oh, you hush right now.
But that will go to the parents. Yes, I know.
So what do I need to start doing to get Ralph signed up to be stimulated? Ralph needs to be stimulated. Ralph is my dog, guys.
I'm telling you, either that or pop out some babies.
That's a no from me.
Now they're saying that there was a possibility of a $2,000 monthly stimulus check. Is that happening? Probably not. I would bet the farm and say that's not happening. And for those who want that to happen, how in the world logically can you rationalize us paying that back, paying everybody $2,000 a month?
I don't foresee that happening.
I mean, stop. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank everybody for taking the time out to listen to another episode of Off the Cuff. Before we head out, let me just take a good look at the show thread. Thank you, everyone, for joining in and watching via facebook.com/off the cuff with Adam Banks. Shannon says we need much more than just one more 1,200 stimulus check. Shannon, that's what lazy people like you say. Wiley says, hello, beautiful. Wiley, you got to stop calling me that. Shannon Hamilton says, you need to do a lot of research on this topic. Shannon, you need to go out and you need to get a job. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for listening to another episode of Off the Cuff. You can follow Off the Cuff on Facebook at Off the Cuff with Adam Banks. You can follow Amber on social media at Ambu447, or you can follow Adam Banks at the Adam Banks on all social media platforms. Ladies and gentlemen, next week you will hear a replay from our archives. We're going to put up a poll of what episode that we're going to be playing. And then when we're back into the studio in 2 weeks, we will have House Arrest Volume 9, a new episode. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is Amber Turner. I'm Adam Banks, and this is Off the Cuff. We'll see you down the road. What?
Nothing.
See you, everybody.
I gotta go. Bye.